Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is George Wolf. I'm Lower Paxton Township's manager, and I am going to summarize tonight's business meeting agenda before the supervisors take action on the agenda items. This is a very short business meeting by the agenda. There is one item of old business, which is action on bids for concrete curb and sidewalk replacement in the Beaver Creek 5B sanitary sewer mini basin. And then under new business, there is action on the renewal of a lease with Dreyer Physical Therapy for the West Annex at the Friendship Center. Those are the two items we have on tonight's business meeting agenda. The supervisors are at the podium and ready to conduct business.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. We'll call this meeting of the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors to order. Would like to ask everyone to please, I didn't mean to startle you. Would everybody please stand, and Mr. Judd will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have before us approval of the minutes of the May 1st, 2018 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the minutes of May the 1st, 2018 as prepared and circulated.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Judd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Before we proceed to public comment, I would like to announce that prior to this meeting, the Board of Supervisors met in executive session to discuss a number of personnel issues and scheduling matters. With that, we would now open the podium for public comment for an item not on the agenda tonight. Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and give us your name and address. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Tom Walco. I live at 4110 Wimbledon Drive in Forest Hills. I first want to commend Amanda. You've got an outstanding asset. Took the time to explain the situation to me, what I'm going to present to you folks. But she really took the time, and she's an asset to you, to Lower Paxton. One day last week I came home, and all of a sudden in our backyard there were posted signs: no hunting, no gaming of any type sort. These signs are about 11 by 11, and they're about 100 yards apart. On the bottom it says name, and they used a black magic marker, which with the weather kind of washed away a little bit, so really couldn't make out the name until Amanda told me it was Jeff Klein. And underneath that, it had LPT, which was kind of washed away as well. And these signs just went up last Tuesday, maybe a week ago. Well, Amanda proceeded to tell me that somebody called from Wimbledon Drive that they were setting up a tree stand. And that's what prompted this whole situation. I think a couple things here. One person makes a phone call, and then all of a sudden everybody jumps. Instead of pursuing, why is the tree stand going up? Are they using it to hunt? Are they using it to take photographs of deer or game in the backyard? There's just to watch wildlife or the leaves falling down. I just don't understand how Jeff Klein could just assume that was being done. So what I did is I went up to Centennial Acres, where we have a tennis court and a pavilion. There's no signs posted up there. So I can't understand if it's a liability, which I agree. If the township owns it, it's a liability. We don't want people to hunt back there. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. Maybe some of the people don't know you can't hunt back there. And for instance, I'm one of them. My lot goes back 130 feet. I cut grass to the back of the woods. I cut additional 50 feet with my lawnmower because of the township owning the property. Don't have a problem with that. But I assumed that I owned into the woods. So I guess what I'm saying here is one person in the township that has authority to make a decision like that, a snap decision, instead of conducting a meeting or talking to the supervisors, or maybe he did talk to you folks, I'm not sure. I just think there's so many other things that we could have done as grown adults. Who wants to break the law? I don't. And I'm sure the people on Wimbledon Drive and Norwick that live behind me don't either. And I talked to the people back there, my neighbors in Norwick. They think a hunter posted all those signs because they wanted to shoot the 8-point that's running in the backyard. So they think a resident actually posted those signs instead of Jeff Klein. I guess where I'm going with this is we have these large signs at Centennial Acres that have like 8 different rules. You can't gamble, you can't be there after dark, and it says no hunting and no trapping. Why can't we, as a community, maybe put that in our newspaper just to refresh everybody's memory? You can't do that, being hunt. But I just think we're being picked on because one neighbor, and the reason why that neighbor, and I know who it is, but I'm not going to say who it is, they feed the deer. They want the deer to come there. They're feeding them on township property. There's a herd of 16 to 17 deer that go through my backyard every day. They eat my plants on the side of my house. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. You folks probably do the same thing. What can we do? But we need to do something. Maybe we need an ordinance that we don't feed the deer so they don't come there.
My question, are you objecting to the fact that the deer are being fed and that's causing them to come into your property and do damage? Or are you objecting to the fact that the township posted signs in a township park saying no hunting?
No, I'm trying to say a solution. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, that's one of my solutions, is have some type of restriction on feeding the deer, the wild deer, to come into the area. It's just a suggestion on that. But I have a problem with the signs posted. You know, I walk out on my deck and boom, 11 by 11 posted signs. And I'm not the only neighbor that looks out in the backyard, you know? I mean, there's some people that just have a new deck that they enjoy their backyard. And in the 23 years that I've lived here, there's never been a sign. Have people hunted back there? Absolutely. I've seen them. But they didn't come in off of my property. So all I'm asking you folks to do is take down the signs, possibly do a mailing to all the residents on Wimbledon Drive in Norwick and Centennial Acres that there's no hunting in those woods around the parks. Just refresh us.
And then what if somebody from out of the area goes into that wooded area and doesn't know that it's a township park? If it isn't posted, how do they know to not hunt there?
Well, I guess my scenario is if those signs have to be there, then they should be at every park, Centennial Acres and every place, not just Wimbledon.
Well, that would be a
And those
possibility.
signs haven't been there for 23 years.
Were any of these signs posted on your private property or anybody else's private property, or were they all posted on township? parkland?
They're on township trees.
Okay. So
But
we
they're
didn't,
in,
we
like,
didn't put them on your property?
No, sir.
Okay, good.
No, sir, they
Good.
did not. They actually put them in 50 feet from
Okay.
where the township line is onto the tree line.
What if the signs were posted so they were on the opposite side of the tree and not facing your property? So you didn't have to look at them?
Well, I don't have a problem with that, but as long as Centennial Acres and every park that the township has those same signs.
Well, most of our other parks,
Don't back up.
yeah, that's
They
not,
don't
like
back up
George
to
Park, you
woods.
wouldn't have,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have to post it because it.
There's no woods. I mean, the ones that have woods is
Yeah.
where I'm going with that. Centennial Acres has plenty of woods.
Well, I think we actually have something that we're going to talk about that's going to be at least a partial solution to this, and maybe Mr. Wolf can explain that.
Board members, staff has investigated the ability to regulate the feeding of wild animals. Actually, due to the complaints received, township solicitor conducted a review. Steve, briefly, you found?
The Game Commission actually has a model ordinance that you can adopt, a model ordinance to forbid people from feeding wild animals.
Oh, okay.
So
The Game Commission encourages municipalities to adopt those ordinances so the animals don't get fed.
So with the board's concurrence, I'll place that on your workshop agenda for next week. And then staff also is planning to send the residents in the area referenced by Mr. Walco a friendly letter advising them of the fact that you can't hunt on municipal property.
Could we possibly go and take the signs and put them in a place where they aren't visible to the neighbors?
We will make sure that the property is properly posted, and we'll do it in a fashion that we're not going to hide them, but we'll try not to make them conspicuous to those who butt up against.
And
Tell me they're on the tree.
I'm sorry.
The signs are posted on the tree.
Yeah, they're actually damaging it. I mean, think about it, they're damaging a tree, but I'm not in. But yeah, they're on a tree about this high, right across.
well, this also, no pun intended, feeds into another issue. And I said no pun intended. We have had multiple complaints stemming back a number of months, more in the last week or so, about feral cats.
Yes.
And the feral cat problem is being driven by people who are feeding the cats. And the cats are congregating, obviously, where the food is, and are creating unsanitary and unhealthy conditions for neighbors. So in terms of this model ordinance, Mr. Stein, as I understand it, it specifically references deer, but we could add cats and perhaps other critters to it?
Yeah, raccoons, skunks,
Skunks.
yeah, and any other wild animal.
And any other wild, that would at least then give us the legal ability to cite somebody if they were feeding the deer or feeding cats, which we don't have, currently. So we are going to put that on the workshop for next week.
All right. I thank you very much for your time and your understanding. I just, if we can move those signs someplace, that'd be awesome.
Sure.
Thanks. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for
folks. I
bringing it to
appreciate
our attention.
Thank you very much.
Would any other member of the public, like I think I see Mr. Murphy, would like to talk with us?
It is the first meeting of the month, and this coming Thursday, the Lower Paxton Township Historic Commission is holding another historical presentation. We've been able to sign up John Harris Jr., who is the founder of Harrisburg, to come and talk about what it was like living in this area back in the day. And also he's going to bring up about the Paxton Rangers. There's been a lot of questions about what they did, and they were in our area, and John Harris knows them very well. So he's going to talk to him about it. John Harris, you can see monthly at the Dauphin County Historical Society. He's been doing it for many years. He's also been in at least 5 documentaries that were filmed down in Philadelphia, down in D.C. He's actually has quite a reputation for playing the part. His picture's also in the lobby on the flag poster. He was the one holding the flag that for the 250th that he stood in front of the Independence Hall. And a little thing about that, he was dressed as John Harris, he talked as John Harris, and a 15-minute picture took an hour and a half because every place we went, people wanted their picture with him. So I'm hoping the people in the audience will come and join us in this room, 6 o'clock Thursday, and hear John Harris. Thank you.
Thank you. Would any other member of the public like to address the board? Seeing nobody else, we'll move on to chairman and board member comments. Do board members have any comments?
Yeah, I just have one. 2 weeks ago on Thursday, I represented the board at the Chamber of Commerce little meet and greet, and I wanted to thank David's Furniture that's at the Colonial Commons for accommodating the Chamber of Commerce and allowing them to come into Lower Paxton Township. So they had a great turnout, and it was good to see some people there that have never been to Lower Paxton. So, yep.
Great. Thank you. Would any other board members like to make a comment? Seeing none, the manager's report, Mr. Wolf.
3 items of importance to everybody in Lower Paxton Township. On Thursday, October 25th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Lower Paxton Township will observe Trick or Treat. In Dauphin County, most municipalities have traditionally observed trick-or-treat on the fourth Thursday of the month from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the purpose for having trick-or-treat on a night other than Halloween is to, number one, better coordinate public safety personnel throughout the county, and number two, to keep Halloween trick-or-treating away from weekend nights, Friday and Saturday nights, which in the past, when trick-or-treat occurred on a Friday or Saturday night, criminal mischief activities were increased. So as a result, Halloween in Lower Paxton Township, and again, most of Dauphin County, will be observed for trick-or-treat on Thursday, October 25th. And then Lower Paxton Township's Fall Festival, the first of its kind for our community, will be held on Saturday, November 3rd from 5:30 p.m. to from 4:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at George Park. It's going to be a fun event for families and children, including entertainment and a host of events that will begin with a children's Halloween parade in the park driveway, which is a long enough driveway to have a nice little parade. So again, the Fall Festival will be Saturday, November 3rd, beginning at 4:30 p.m. in George Park. And then also, as we end the holiday season, the Halloween holiday season, for those who want to get a free workout at the Friendship Center, if you bring a bag of candy to the Friendship Center on Friday, October 26th, you can get a free workout. So Friday, October 26th, bring in some candy and you can work out for free. I have nothing further, board members.
That's true. Mr. Zuma says if you don't eat the candy, that counts double. You don't eat the candy and you get a workout.
You saved it.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. We'll now move to old business, and the board will consider action on bids for concrete curb and sidewalk replacement in the BC 5B mini basin. Mr. Wolf.
Board members, this is the second time this item has been bid. The first time the board received one bid and rejected that bid, authorizing the re-advertisement in hopes of generating additional bids, and the specifications were modified. This time we received bids. The lowest responsible bid, again, has been submitted by Cumberland Masonry in the amount of $209,425. The engineer's estimate for this work is actually $210,000. The bid submitted by Cumberland is in accordance with the township specifications, has been reviewed by staff and the township solicitor and engineer, and found to be acceptable. The board staff recommends that the board authorize this work by awarding this bid this evening. It should be noted that Cumberland Masonry has and is currently working for the Lower Paxton Township Sewer Department, and the work has been determined to be more than acceptable.
Any questions or comments from members of the board?
He answered all my questions.
Any questions or comments from members of the public? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the bid for concrete curbing and sidewalk replacement in the BC, 5B mini basin to Cumberland Masonry, Inc. in the amount of $209,425.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mrs. Lindsay. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Hearing nobody being opposed. Will take us to new business, and we have action on the renewal of a lease with Dreyer Physical Therapy, LLC, for the west annex of the Friendship Community Center. Mr. Wolf.
Yes, board members, the current lease with Dreyer is an annual lease. Dreyer has proposed a 5-year renewal of the 3,000 square foot west annex at the current lease rate, which is $20.34 per square foot. Dreyer is also responsible for all utilities and cleaning at their facility. Staff recommends that the board authorize this renewal. Again, this is a flat renewal with no increase over the current rate. I have checked this lease rate, though, with an individual who is significantly knowledgeable of commercial lease rates in Lower Paxton Township, and he said that it is more than an acceptable rate, and that the rental market for commercial space in Lower Paxton Township is currently somewhat flat, especially for office space.
Oh, okay.
So he would not recommend an increase in the lease, and he thinks that a flat increase for the 5-year period would be acceptable.
Okay.
Any questions or comments from board members?
Well, obviously, they're happy being there, so, or they wouldn't want to renew.
They have been a good partner for us.
Yes. I concur. They have been a good
This is the
partner.
third time that they renewed this?
They had a long-term, and then they had 2 one-year renewals, and now they want a long-term again.
Okay, okay.
That's good that they're willing to make that
Any
kind of a
member of the
commitment.
public have a question or comment? Hearing none, a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the renewal of the lease with Dreher Physical Therapy LLC for the Friendship Center West Annex for a 5-year contract for this base rent of square footage of $20.34 as presented by Mr. Wolf.
So moved by Mr. Chrisman. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mrs. Lindsay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That takes us to subdivision and land development plans. Rather, we're going to actually have improvement guarantees, et cetera. I see 3.
Yep.
All appear to be fairly common.
Can I just ask?
Any questions?
Yeah, I just have a question. What are they doing at VOTEC, Mr. Wolf?
Which one are you questioning?
That's
VOTEC?
a stormwater management plan, I'm sorry. That is a stormwater management plan. VOTEC has had different activities that have been ongoing, so I'm not sure specifically which, I can scroll down here and see if it references which one this is for.
Talks about fence,
Um,
erosion and sediment control.
Which specific
it?
project they're doing here.
I think it's a
This-
portable classroom or something, isn't it?
I think it is.
Okay,
Yes, I think it
then they're
is.
bringing a
I think
portable
you're right.
classroom on site, and they need to do a stormwater management
Okay.
plan for
Right,
the
I heard
additional
Peggy
permit.
talk about that last
Right,
week.
so they must be growing out there. That's good.
Mhm.
Good. Okay.
They're doing quite well.
Yes.
Do we have any other questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'll move we accept the 3 improvement guarantees as presented.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That takes us to payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and the Lower Paxton Township Authority. Madam Treasurer.
Yes, I make a motion, we pay the bills for Lower Paxton Township and Lower Paxton Township Authority.
So moved. A second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Judd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any additional announcements? I believe we have set a record. Fellow supervisors, with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.